very wet start to March. I mean, March is a top wettest for many spots. And so far, anyway, we take a look at Boston. We've got more rain coming in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Rain with temperatures in the 40s, overnight lows into the mid to upper 30s. So we're not talking about snowflakes mixing in here. It will be just rain. And rain out there right now. You can see that across central New York State. Showers extend back down here, and they're patchy into Pennsylvania and patchy into western Maryland and northern Virginia. But we do have the showers out there, and the clouds are moving in as well. You can see all across this region. Now, we're going to be watching the clouds stick around through the day, the rain expanding, and probably in terms of how much we'll be getting in coverage. 1 to 2 inches of rain is possible in a large area stretching right along the I-95 all the way from North Carolina, Virginia, right up into Maine. And you'll see pockets of 3 to 5 inches of rain, especially down here from North Carolina into southeast Virginia, like around Norfolk and the Hampton Roads area. 3 to 5 inches of rain, again, on top of what we've already had as a very wet March here to start. Again, a top 5 for most across that area. Many were a top wettest March so far. Now, there are some snow chances, and we will see that up here into parts of the Northeast, mainly up into northern Maine. And you've got, this is one model rendition here, looking at the Euro model. 5 to 8 inches is a possibility up around Bar Harbor, Acadia National Park, up into Houghton, Maine, Caribou as well. The GFS a little different in terms of placement, but has some bigger totals as well, and maybe even a little bit more into the northern mountains of Maine, with that chance of a foot or even 1.5 feet or 2 feet of snow up at the mountain peaks. But none of them really have a lot of snow down into east Maine, including around Portland or in even Vermont and New Hampshire. It's going to be hard pressed to get a lot of snow out of this storm system with the way it's tracking in and where the warm air is tracking. So let's go ahead and look at that here as we watch this low move up the coast, the position of it, kind of throwing back some moisture into New England. The forecast for rainfall, it extends from the southeast, and we already see it today in Florida, all the way up the eastern seaboard through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, where some of that rain will be heaviest at times. But it's possible we do see some flooding up here into southern New England. 1 to 2 inches of rain could do that, and we'll be watching for that here for you in eastern Massachusetts, also watching across maybe the shore of New Hampshire, and of course eastern Maine as well, where we will be getting some more heavier rainfall coming on in as we get into really the rest of the week. We've got rain in the forecast. So let's look at the timing of it, with rain moving in today through eastern Virginia. We've got rain for you from Richmond, Virginia, over towards Washington, D.C., and Philadelphia. Showers are moving in through today. We're going to watch those showers extend all the way up into southern New England, and showers continue tomorrow as well. In fact, they might even expand and become a little heavier at times as we see that rain out here in as many of the same places that you'll see it today, but even more so. So keeping that moisture around New York City, across Long Island, up to the tri-state. We've got rainfall in the forecast, with rain heavy at times, perhaps into southeastern New England, which is why there is that concern for the flash flooding getting into that Thursday into Friday time frame. Rain for you Thursday night, again, could be heavy at times, continuing into Friday, finally moving away by the time we get into the end of Friday, drying out for the weekend. Now, we want to get a closer look at how this weather will affect the efforts at the site of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse. NBC News reporter Alice Barr joins us now from the scene in Baltimore. Alice, what can you tell us about how first responders are dealing with current conditions?
Jen, so
it's hard to imagine something like this happening, but obviously it has. Alice Barr in Baltimore for NBC News. Thank you so much for that update. And we're going to be following, of course, the weather and the stories surrounding the recovery and the investigation. We also want to take you into the kind of weather that we're going to be dealing with, not just in the Northeast, but the Southeast. We've got a lot of rain out. Hey, we're asking you, would you rather get all of your season's snow in one big heaping bowl or spread out in multiple servings?
It's one of those, our favorite would you rathers. We got a holiday weekend. We were just talking about how it just doesn't even feel like Easter weekend is here, but it is here.
Yeah, I mean, it's early. I just feel like a lot of people aren't talking about it. I mean, you go in the grocery store, you can see it. Right?
Oh, yeah, well, we saw that back in November.
That's true. It's been a while. All right, so weather-wise this weekend, though, the West is going to feel a lot of it. We've got a couple of back-to-back systems coming into the West, and for the weekend, it's this one that swings into the Southwest.
Yeah, and it's certainly going to be bringing us some nasty weather there. You see L.A. dealing with that. Big trough here in the West here as we round things out for the weekend, while a ridge will be in place farther east, which means the temperatures are getting a chance to warm up.
Yeah, I mean, it helps out a little bit. If you're trying to decide if you're going to wear that sundress or not. It's always when Easter's early, it's always a little tricky about what you're going to wear. But by Sunday, we start to see with that trough in the west, our storm system develop, the moisture come back. So could we be setting the stage for some thunderstorms? Certainly
looks like it here for you. We'll certainly have to be watching out for that. And we'll still have some wintry weather to track as well on some of the higher elevations there into parts of the Rockies.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on in the Rockies. Skiing for Easter might be a good idea because we do have a lot of wintry weather out there. Here's a look at that Sunday forecast temperature-wise. Alex, you mentioned the warmth. I mean, look at all these 80s.
Yeah, and maybe even some 90s as you get closer towards the Rio Grande there in southern portions of Texas. But overall, should stay dry here for you in the south here on your Sunday. The exception will be there in the southwest. You see Phoenix dealing with some rain.
Yeah, LA too. Denver, rain showers, temps in the 60s. Mountain snow. Billings, we'll have a mix of some rain and snow, kind of raw with temps only reaching into the low 40s.
How about the ATL on Sunday? Really looking nice through the morning into the evening hours. Maybe getting some Easter egg hunting going on.
Yeah.
Be a nice one for it.
Yes, it will.
Well, it is an encore that nobody...
Well, joy, awe, and sometimes tears. A total solar eclipse brings out a lot of emotions.
Meteorologist Stephanie Abrams witnessed the 2017 event in Madras, Oregon. And let's just say it was as unforgettable for her as it was for us. I mean, it makes sense, right? I remember watching the coverage and I was like, what's wrong with Steph? Why is she crying? But when you really sit and think about it, you're like, I get it. I can really...
Yeah, and watching other people's reactions too. Sometimes that's the kind of thing that would bring me, all that emotion. It's just seeing everyone else all at once having their own reaction just like that,
Yeah. Emotional time.
Yeah.
We'll see a few more tears, of course, coming up in a couple of weeks because we got another big one that's taking place across the country.
Yeah, and hopefully it's not tears because you have clouds. We'll be talking a lot about this forecast coming up. And if you can't see the eclipse where you live, you can tune into the Weather Channel on April the 8th.
And we're going to have several live crews spread out over the zone of totality. That's bringing you live views and expert analysis as the moon passes here between the Earth and the sun. Ongoing situation here, and the weather's going to play a role in how they can do their job to do the recovery, right? And unfortunately, after yesterday being a pretty quiet weather day, today not expected to be as quiet.
Right. Today we'll have the clouds, as you saw in the video there. Also, the rain is moving in. For now, it's been pretty light and spotty and drizzly, but we are expecting some steadier rain to come in. You can see that right now. It's already raining at Reagan National Airport there in D.C.
Yeah, absolutely. We only anticipate to see that filling in a bit more here in and around Baltimore. So there is, again, the key bridge and the location there just to the south and the east of the city. Water temperatures hovering in kind of the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees. But the forecast, again, 50s with that rain. At times, we could see some steady rains coming into the picture.
And these are all going to be factors in that continued recovery as well as investigation here. Water temperatures, won't increase for months, really. We're going to see these water temperatures hovering in the 40s, near 50 degrees. We take a look at the weather. That's been a factor, of course, today and will continue for the next few days. A lot of clouds, and we've got clouds continuing to stretch up and down the entire eastern seaboard. Showers will be on the increase.
Yeah, and adding to the tune here through our at least early part of Friday, a good chunk of the East Coast here are going to be looking at 1 to 2 inches of rain. Some areas here that stick out a bit more, far eastern Massachusetts towards the Cape, also down around the Delmarva. We could be looking at 2 to 3 inch totals in those spots.
And so we'll be watching this rain heavy at times, bringing some concern for flash flooding. We'll show you where that is. You will have an area of low pressure form along our front that hits the eastern seaboard, and then that moves up to the northeast off the coast and far enough away, that it won't be a huge storm, but it'll still throw enough moisture back that we'll see some heavy rain out there and some snow where it's cold enough in northern Maine.
Yeah, so get ready for that. And again, the potential here for some of the rain, again, there could be heavy at times to lead to some flash flooding. This is now tomorrow through Friday, looking for, again, southeastern Massachusetts all the way up into basically down east Maine.
All right, so let's time it out for you today. Rain is out there right now. It's going to increase in coverage, increase in intensity by this afternoon and evening. Showers expanding all up and down the I-95 corridor into tomorrow.
Yeah, you notice there's not a huge eastward progression with that rain. Kind of hangs around for a bit before finally exiting. We get to that break throughout the day on our Friday. Looking better heading into the weekend. Get ready for some more wet weather. In fact, we're already seeing some of that pushing its way across parts of the Northwest. That's going to be the scenario for the day. Not just the rain, but maybe some rumbles of thunder, too.
Yeah, Seattle, you could hear a few rumbles of thunder. Don't be surprised. We've got the rain, though, spreading down the coast. Medford, Eugene, Klamath Falls. We've got all rain heading in your way, although Klamath Falls might get a little snow.
Well, how much is going to add up? Well, this is the forecast for the rain, and, decent amounts here along the coast. A general 1 to 2, but no doubt there'll be some pockets where we see some higher totals showing up, maybe 3 to 5. They're in southwest Oregon, far northwest California.
Yep. All right. So here we go. And you can see how it spreads over the entire west here. Big trough kind of digging in, guiding these storm systems that we'll be watching. First one comes in today, another one lined up behind it. So will there be a little break in between? It's not going to be a long break.
Yeah, mini break here for us that we'll see now through Saturday. Not just going to be the rain, but watch the snow get a chance to add up as well. Because we've made up a lot of ground with the Sierra snowpack. We're going to add a bit more to that.
Yes, we are. All right. So let's talk about the concerns. There may be flooding. Flash flooding is a concern with a threat into the weekend, Friday to Saturday, all the way down through Santa Barbara. It includes up through the Bay Area. Sunday, we bring in more of Southern California.
Yeah, so L.A., even out of San Diego, those will be some spots, and even spreading farther inland. Southern Nevada, Vegas. And it doesn't take a whole lot to cause problems there.
We time it out today with the rain moving down the coast again to the Bay Area by tonight. Then Thursday, more rain coming in to the northwest. And here you can see that big push of moisture for the weekend.
Yeah, that one will be the one that brings us some of the heftier snows there in the Sierra throughout your Friday into Friday night, and then spreading its way southbound. And eventually we'll start to see the interior areas, parts of the Four Corners now getting involved in the rain and the snow.
There are winter storm warnings up already for the snow to come here, and winter weather advisory, South Lake Tahoe, more snow for you.
Well, don't forget, question of
ahead.
Do we?
Yeah, it's Easter this weekend.
Feel like
I know, it doesn't feel like it.
I haven't even made the Easter basket for the kid yet. That's how much I'm out of it. This is crazy.
Yeah, you got to get to it. Alex, all the good candy's going to be sold.
Let's talk about the forecast, because we'll start you off on Saturday. And, for the most part here in the southern part of the country, things will be looking pretty good until you head to the west coast. You'll be dealing with some rain.
Yeah, so Saturday's forecast, a lot of stuff outside. Whether it's an Easter egg hunt, and, there's a lot of festivals ongoing this time of year. So you're good in the east, but we've got rain coming in from the Bay Area with maybe even thunderstorms, Los Angeles area. And then it starts to get pretty windy in places like Phoenix. Yeah,
that's kind of out ahead of what the rain will be bringing with our trough that's going to be in place. That'll be basically digging across parts of the west, while we've got a ridge in place in the east, which means the temperatures will be a little bit on the higher side.
The thing about this pattern is it kind of sets the stage for some storms eventually. Because when you have a trough in the west, you often see this low pressure form, and that will help usher in some moisture. We've got the warm front lifting up, so that'll be a focus for some rain out there.
Yeah, we'll certainly have to watch out for that here through the Midwest, kind of that I-70 corridor, and then where we have some colder air, where the moisture gets flung back into that. How about a little rain and snow mix in some of these areas in the northern plains and back into the Rockies?
But we do have a lot of warm temperatures to talk about. A lot of 70s and 80s out there all across the deep south. I mean, southern plains, southeast, through Florida, temps are going to be in the 80s.
Yeah, those Easter bunnies, they're going to be sweating it out, no doubt about it.
In the costume.
Exactly. For your Sunday, there you go. Still hanging on to that risk for some of that rain. Then as you get into parts, I'd say northern Nebraska, the Dakotas, back towards the Rockies, still wintry weather in play.
New York City still has their Easter bonnet parade, and Saturday's weather looks good, and temps will eventually be warming up into the 50s. Here, a little chillier in the morning, but overall looking good.
Yeah, that northeast is really looking really nice. Now, St. Louis, this is again on your Sunday. Quiet for the morning and through, I'd say, the early part of the afternoon. As we get into the evening, early evening, maybe a few storms that may pop up.
Yeah, this is something Greg Postel's been talking about. He'll focus more in on this, what are the risks when it comes to storms on Easter Sunday evening. Meanwhile, we want to get you into the out there with some of the big...
But we want to revisit our question of the day, asking you, would you rather your season's snow coming in one big heaping bowl, or kind of just spread out in multiple but smaller servings?
Steve says multiple servings.
That is true. It has been a weird one.
You can go to Thread, send us your comments, share your pics and video with us using the hashtag YesTV, and we will share them.
Normally about 31,000 cars per day pass across the Francis Scott Key Bridge, but leaving weekend travelers now looking for another way around.
And, not only will road traffic be affected, but other cargo ships will have to reroute around the 20th busiest port in America.
Let's get you caught up on and all across the Northeast. Rain coming to Boston. Showers out there tomorrow. And, well, really today we'll see a few, but tomorrow much more widespread in coverage and continuing into Friday. And Friday, the wind starts to pick up. We're going to have a coastal low to deal with out there. So we'll look at all of this detail. And we've got rain and clouds, more clouds than rain at the moment, but it has been raining in the district all morning long. We've got showers reaching all the way up to Burlington and Vermont and a few showers up into Bangor. You know, you see the clouds moving across. Clouds are going to be filling in with this front as it continues to track eastbound, and the front kind of slows down as it moves across the I-95. So, and by the way, not that it's been the quickest moving front anyway, but it just kind of continues that slow moving pattern and it slows down even more. It focuses a lot of rain in eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia. We've got snowfall that's a possibility once we get to the end of the forecast period, Friday into Saturday, mainly Friday, and this is up here into northern Maine. Model's a little different on exactly where and how much, but both have that chance of at least 5 to 8 inches of snowfall. GFS a little snowier up to the north. Now, there will be a low pressure that we'll have to watch. Again, along that front, a low pressure will form, moves up along the coast, throws back moisture into southern New England. That's going to be a reason why we keep the rain a little bit longer and why it's going to be so raw and windy for you on Friday. It is possible we get into some flash flooding watching tomorrow into Friday morning for that timing on that eastern Massachusetts, out towards the Cape as well, maybe even parts of Rhode Island and up into to down East Maine, Portland, and then over towards Bangor. Our rain could be pretty heavy as well. Showers out there today are pretty few and far between, but they'll expand in coverage throughout the day today. And then by tonight, rain heavy at times moving up from North Carolina into Virginia, eastern Maryland, Delaware, Jersey, all going to be wet. And this comes after what for many of you is so far a top 5 wettest March on record. Now, you know, not every single spot, but a lot of you have had some of your wettest March days on record here in the Mid-Atlantic. And we're going to bring more rain on top of that. That definitely leads to concerns for flooding and flash flooding. And last thing I just want to say is it does get windy, you know, especially Friday and at least early Saturday, winds 15 to 25 miles per hour, pretty blustery out there. Now to the southeast, there may be winds, and that might be because of thunderstorms, Greg.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Most of the winter as we see another couple of systems drive in as well.
Miracle March out there.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, when you look at the snowfall, that's what's happening. All right, ready for the weekend?
Well, yeah, this weekend, you know, we're going to be dealing with a basket full of messes.
Snow in one big heaping bowl or spread out in multiple servings.
Well, Daryl, he chimes in, says multiple so that we can have snow cream more than one. Yeah, I'm right there as well. Give me a nice spreading out of it. You can enjoy it throughout the season and then it'd be good.
Greg?
Well, it's complicated. I'd rather be in South Florida, but aside from that, fun because every storm is kind of fun and exciting, and we can learn something from it. The more of them, I suppose, the better.
See?
Yes,
there you go.
Yeah.
So there's no wrong answers, but you know, there's just a lot of cute little towns.
It's like a state made up of cute little towns. There you go. Good stuff. Can't wait to find out what is best in the state. Well, what's going to be best for the holiday weekend in terms of weather? Well, if you like it to be nice and warm, the southern tier, you've got that. This is Saturday. Look at that. Houston getting up to about 80 degrees. ATL in the upper 70s with dry conditions. Yeah,
looking good and drying out. I mean, for once this weekend, we don't have rain over most of the Northeast. A couple spots, like in Ohio, we might see some showers. The West really gets all of the activity with our second of 2 storm systems coming in. This one could bring thunderstorms to the Bay Area and rain to SoCal.
Yeah, not looking too fun at all there to kick things off for the weekend. There's our trough that's going to be in place here in the western part of the country, keeping a little coolish, showery, very unsettled as well. While more of a ridge starts to build in the east, warmer weather, but also sets the stage for a storm system to try to organize.
Yeah, so there could be some showers or storms. We'll watch on Sunday. Greg Postel will be talking more about that risk of severe weather, maybe along that warm front. You know, to the north of it, where we have some cooler air mixing in, it'll be a sloppy rainstorm mix up there in parts of the Dakotas and Montana and Wyoming.
Yeah, sloppy is a good way to describe it. But look at those temperatures here farther to the south and the east. 70s, 80s, and even some 90s down into Texas. Well, the boys of summer, they are on risk for some of that rain, and we'll also see the winds picking up as well, which means, you know, the waters are not going to be necessarily too calm for the recovery efforts either.
And the waters are cold, too, and we'll show you those water temperatures. Rain is now approaching the Baltimore area, and we've got rainfall that has increased at the airport there. You can see that it's moving in that direction of what was the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and it's going to be moving in spurts throughout the day with generally showers all day long.
And you mentioned the water temperatures. temperatures again hovering around 50, kind of in the upper 40 to 50 degree range. So still pretty chilly out there in those waters. And thinking a day that it's going to be filled with rain showers kind of rolling on in, kind of in rounds here for the day. At times picking up in intensity, maybe letting down a bit. But overall, just a very, very sort of wet and soggy pattern.
It's very cloudy out across that region right now. In fact, it's cloudy across the entire Northeast. And so with that, we've got a few areas of some heavier showers. There will be more as we see this front continue to move east, but also low pressure kind of moving up along the front, helping to encourage more showers. And you'll see that in North Carolina and Virginia.
Yeah, I mean, look at the rain adding up there, 3 to 5 inches, pretty widespread for you. And we got a pretty decent swath of 1 to 2 inches here for a lot of the East Coast, thanks to that storm system that's going to be moving its way up the region here. This is late in the week. Now, it's not necessarily right on shore, but close enough to keep things wet and breezy.
Look familiar? Another low pressure is going to cause more wind, kind of like what we had last week. Not as strong as last weekend, but still they'll be windy and there'll be more rain, some heavy at times. Raleigh, out towards the Outer Banks. We've got rain up there in Virginia Beach.
And farther to the north, you're up into New England. Coastal areas here. This is for tomorrow through Friday morning, where we have at least a possibility for some flash flooding.
Showers today on the increase. We'll see showers more widespread right through the day into the evening, and that continues overnight and throughout the entire day tomorrow.